What's up, guys? It's Cyan. We're back, and today we're going to be talking about Sasuke, Skillbroken and Skill Books. I think I'm gonna do Skill Books first, and then we'll talk about Skill Breaks afterwards. I know it's gonna be a little bit confusing, but the reason why I'm doing that is because Germany and Taiwan, they only have access to the Skill Books right now. So we'll talk about the breaks afterwards. We're gonna go in. Of course, it's the same Sasuke that you see me using all the time, being a badass. So it kind of doesn't change much of anything that I need to actually do and actually show you. But I've been asked to actually show it, so we're gonna show it. All right. So here's the cool thing and the weird thing about Sasuke. Sasuke is probably the most well-rounded out of all of the skill break characters next to Sage Naruto, which I guess would be fitting, but we're going to talk about it. So we're going to first show, this is the skill books right here. These are the breaks, so we're going to talk about the skill books. Alright, so very first, we have his lightning style, which is pretty much the Curin. The plus one pretty much adds the paralysis, and of course it has the knockdown and everything, and will cause the team 4 units in the team damage. Now the paralysis is pretty big because his normal one doesn't do that, and it still gives you the 40% after that. Excuse me, it still gives you the 40%. Let me go up. Still gives you the 40%, and it causes paralysis. All right. Now here's the key thing, which is why I have to actually go back now. Is at +2, he hits everybody on the field, and I thought it was Y2 that originally did it, but I wasn't paying attention. So now I actually have to go back, and I can choose that if I, see fit. But I have to actually unlock Y2 now, and that'll be better overall than going to Y. We're gonna see what Y does in a bit, but I actually want this because I want him to hit everybody in ranked battle, which is pretty good. It's just nasty overall. These Y skills I think is more or less for when you want to actually, you know what, I'm gonna do this way because it's gonna be confusing. We're gonna talk about the Y skills. All right, so the Y, which is the one that I have right now, pretty much he's gonna launch the barrier for 3 rounds, and he's still gonna have the 40%. And the cool thing about this is that the barrier doesn't disappear. It does not disappear at all. It's sexy like that, and it's pretty cool. So when you go into the Y +1, it now improves it to 50%. Still hits 4 people. Still going to knock down somebody randomly. And then when you change it over to Y2, it's going to be 60% barrier on the buff. So that's the difference between this. Now, granted, you are not going to until they get the actual skill break part of the system, we are not going to have that. We're probably going to be all of these right here. This is the skill books right here. So his normal attack pretty much is what's gonna happen is that it's gonna get excuse me. Oh, why is this? Oh no, I am so sorry. You get an additional standard attack, and it will not actually overlap with anything else. So even though we have the Itachi buff, it doesn't overlap it. He's just gonna still double attack regardless. So it kind of really doesn't matter as far as with Itachi. It does matter when you actually use Susanoo Sasuke. So Susanoo Sasuke will actually attack twice, but he's going to attack twice regardless anyway, which is actually it's pretty cool in a sense. Like, it's not that important if you have both of these at the same time, so it's whatever. And it's a higher chance when he does the additional attack to actually start a combo, which is why I usually always like him to attack. And kind of sad when he cannot. Now, you have right here his Fireball Jutsu, which is pretty much is gonna get the ignite, and as well as the it is a low float chase, but he's gonna ignite as well. So he's gonna set on fire, which is always good, and why I always say that, like, he can afflict multiple times. He can afflict on his paralysis and mystery skill. he can afflict on his first chase, he can afflict on his second chase, and he can afflict on his third chase. And there's not many characters in the game that can do that. This right here, it kind of is like breaks the system. When you get him to do all of these attacks in one round, he F's the other team. The other team is kind of screwed unless they have somebody to remove afflictions. And if he keeps doing it, which is usually the case, then they're almost always going to be afflicted, which is one of the reasons why I use them. It's just multifaceted. Alright, so we go down here, which is pretty much his Chidori Sharp Spear. And relatively is interesting because, oops, almost messed up. It's interesting because it pretty much adds on the extra attack onto the actual spear, and that's pretty sexy. Overall, he just like it could be triggered twice. Pretty much, that's what I'm trying to say. It could be triggered twice. So if you like, this is just the first one right here. I'm sorry, he could do it twice, and then when you bring it into the actual second one, excuse me. When you bring it into the second one, it's the 10 combo. He has the low float, but it does have I guess you want to call a diminishing effects, which kind of sucks. It really does kind of suck. It has a diminishing effects, but when you put it into this one, the +2, it doesn't have the diminishing effects anymore, which is sexy. It is really sexy. I like that a lot. But you know what? I'm messing up. We're gonna talk about this in a second. We'll come back to that. You also have his fire style dragon jutsu, which pretty much it determines, like, you know, first of all, when he does it on the +1, it's going to be 30% extra damage, but it only does 2 people. And why is it not saying it? Whatever. But when it gets to +2, it does 3 people and additional damage, and it still causes ignite. Like I said, you know, multiple ways to actually ignite. Alright, so we're gonna go back up, and we're gonna actually talk about his Chidori stream, which is like what people usually always like seeing. Now the Chidori stream basically will actually come out, and when you see, right, when you put it on Y, because see I have Y1, the initial one will cause damage, of course, with his stream, and then cause a 5 combo to 2 people. Now when you get it to Y1, it's gonna go to 3 people. When you get it to Y2, it's gonna hit 4 people. So that means he's gonna hit the whole team. Like you see, I have Y1 right now, so that means only 3 people in the team are gonna get hit. Sometimes that kind of screws me, I'm gonna be honest, and it kind of hurts my feelings, because sometimes he just doesn't hit the character I need him to hit, and it's like random, so that kind of like sucks. But it is what it is. Like, what you're gonna do is just luck. So when you actually look at Y, oh, I guess I thought I was clicking it. Well, I guess I wasn't clicking it. But anyway, you get to Y, the initial break. It pretty much is going to be, again, ignition, and it's going to be triggered off a 30 combo, which is pretty easy once you combine all those things together. And it does 50% more damage overall than that, which is pretty good. When you get it to Y1, it does 100% more damage, which is extremely better. Like 100% is nasty. And then when you get it to Y2, which I've never seen that, you're going to hit all 4 enemies at 100% damage. So when you get this stuff all the way maxed, if you feel like maxing it all the way, this is pretty cool. And the fact that the barrier never disappears and he can bring it back means that this is like just a permanent barrier. Now you have to think, do you want to hit everybody, which is a pretty good nuke when he gets it out there? Or do you want to have a barrier that never goes away? You can just keep bringing this barrier back, which is sexy because it'll screw a team like in ranked battle who has multiple people with a barrier. And it's the same thing kind of like with like against Gara or something like that, if somebody's using normal Gara. But then again, they can bring their barrier back too. But his barrier stays indefinitely. It never goes away. So he'll pretty much be able to just nuke all the way around over and over again. Which is why I wasn't so caught up trying to get rid of this, because it's still, that's pretty sexy overall. So when you go in and you look at and you think about all this, you know, he may be one of the best all-around characters that you can get, in the skill break system. And like I said, you know, like you see guys arguing, and then they're like, you know, they're trying to make jokes and stuff like that. But Susanoo Sasuke just isn't on par with that. And if you put Sasuke in the same gear in game as Susanoo, this Sasuke with all those skills is gonna pretty much destroy an entire team completely. Because I'm doing that right now. When he's free and attacking people my level, the other team's decimated. They can't do anything. They're paralyzed. They're ignited. It's a long ass combo. And you put it together with Itachi basically burning people too, which I wish fire would stack, but it just doesn't. But when I put that together with Karin, that's why this team is pretty dangerous. When I put Karin out there along with Sakura, because then now you have her poison stacks on top of everything that, you know, they're doing right here. That's just dangerous. And you have him coming out with his double attack. It's just dangerous overall. It's pretty cool. So Sasuke is like one of my favorite characters in this game next to Naruto. They work pretty well together. And well, Sage Naruto, not the normal Naruto. I don't like that version, but I think he's definitely a ninja that you guys should think about when the skill breaks come through, because he's just so dangerous overall. Like, that's just a lot of damage that he's gonna come out and actually bring, and I don't even have him perfect yet. So that's my Sasuke, and that's how I feel about him. Now, I think overall Sasuke as a character, all three versions are useful, and in fact, people are using Playboy Sasuke over Susanoo in game, which is kind of curious. I don't think I agree with that much, but I think in the whole that all three of his characters get used, because I've seen Susanoo used in game too. But it's a tank, and there's far better tanks out there that you can have, which is, I think that's the reason why Susanoo is probably going to get his skill books and his skill break and bring him a little bit up, because there's better tanks. There's a Hand and Roshi to be, for starters. There's Hiruzen. You can use Earth Main as a tank, and like as you can see, I use Lightning Main a lot. And there's just, you have Sakura herself, who could be a tank, and you have Shark Kasame, who could be a tank. You have Angel Conan, who could be a tank. All these options are better than using Susanoo, even including Itachi himself, Susanoo. So I think that's where Sasuke Susanoo is in a bad spot, and he just needs to be buffed a little with the skill books. So we'll probably see the return of him. Don't worry about that. They'll fix that. So other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next video. And next video, you will probably see Sakura, because I'm going to have to explain her too, because people did not want me to be lazy, because I was going to combine them, to be honest with you, but they're like, nah, son, don't do that. That's lazy as fuck. So, fine. Fine. You guys be legendary. Peace.